What's up, everyone? Welcome to Bluegrass State of Mind, the show where three college roommates talk life, sports, and all the ridiculous things that happen in an apartment we like to refer to as Room 302. We're bringing you stories, hot takes, and the kind of late-night debates that probably should have stayed in the group chat.
So grab your headphones, sit back, and get ready for a wild ride through our past college life, sports, and everything in between. Let's get into it. This is Bluegrass State of Mind.
Welcome back to another episode of Bluegrass State of Mind. It is officially Ryder Cup Day. By the time this episode is released, hopefully you are chanting USA, USA. Colton's got his American flag going on in the background. I got my new good sweatshirt with the American flag on the back. You can't see. Mason's got some tint of red on.
and blue. Yeah.
Yeah, so we're all American up right now. Let's start off tonight with a little bit of college football. Obviously, our Cats had a bye week, so they did not play. Won't really talk a lot of Kentucky stuff, really, as far as football goes. But let's go ahead and jump into, I guess, the story of the week in college football. And for a lot of people, that is Mr. Dabo Swinney and Clemson. Clemson is off to a surprising 1-3 start, marking the worst beginning under Dabo Swinney's tenure. It also includes a 34-21 home loss to Syracuse, and they were a 17.5-point underdog coming into that game. As far as Syracuse goes, not Clemson. You talk about quarterback for Clemson, Cade Klubnik, who was on the national spotlight, Heisman list. He's facing a lot of ups and downs right now, currently just completing only 60% of his passes with only 6 touchdowns and with 4 interceptions already through the season. I'm sure you all got to watch the clip of Dabo Swinney at the very end of the game where, he has one of his players' arms is wrapped around him. And you could just really see the emotion of Dabo. I think that's whenever, he's starting to not realize that, maybe is this time up, but he's starting to see a shift. Okay, I got to get my stuff together, or we got to real fast, or this is going to go south, and the headlines are going to be shouting my name on the move. Mason, what are some of your thoughts about, Clemson off to the start? Is it surprising? Did you see it coming? How does this affect Dabo as far as, years to come? Could it be time for Dabo and Clemson to part ways? I mean, I know we've touched a little bit about it, but what are some of your initial thoughts on just the entire Clemson reality that they're facing right now?
Yeah. I'll be honest, I'm a little surprised this season. They've been down the last couple of seasons, but they had a lot returning this year. Everybody was talking about Cade Klubnik being one of the first QBs taken in the draft. And I thought maybe Dabo had finally kind of shifted a little bit and started to catch on to this new NIL and adapted to that a little bit, but obviously not. I mean, they're just, they, like I said, they've been down the last few years, and it's just continuing right now. And the main thing to me is, Dabo can sit there and say all he wants, like he said the week before about, hey, I've won so many games here. Here's what I've done. Are they going to get rid of me? At some point, they are. Think back to Cal at UK. I mean, he did great for his first few years. And he wasn't giving results, and people were calling for his head. And if Dabo doesn't turn things around real quickly this season, I think it's going to be his last season at Clemson. I mean, if he keeps going down this route, losing to teams like Syracuse and other things, he may not make it to the end of the season. I honestly don't know. But he's got to figure something out and figure it out quick, or he's going to be looking for a new job, or maybe he just goes into retirement and calls it quits because he's not built for this NIL style.
I've seen another stat where it talked about teams. I don't know if y'all got to see. I cannot recall the teams, but it popped up. When they were playing Syracuse, it said teams to start 1-3 and who had been down 14 on all 3 games, and both of those teams' head coaches had been fired, and Dabo was the only one left. Colton, what? There's a lot of people that I've watched that said they say be careful what you wish for, because Dabo, is there many Dabos out there? Like, what are your thoughts on just saying that? Or, like Mason said, it's about what you can do right now in the present. The past is the past. It's about what you can do right now. So, like, what is, I guess, the shift in focus towards Dabo?
I think you could look at it two ways. If you want to look at it in a bad way, the way I look at it is like, okay, now that NIL has come around, some of these other ACC schools have done. Was Clemson just in a terrible conference for several years, right? Were they just running? Obviously, they got the national championships, but I mean, you get to that four without having the miles on your body like some of the SEC schools did that year. But so you could kind of look at it like that. Okay, now these schools are catching up. Like, how good of a coach really is Dabo? Like, is he? Everyone kind of loved him at first, but now that like the players, they also have the players. How good is he? But I think the other way is just that I'm like, I think Klubnik has struggled. Maybe, and I'll be honest with you, a lot of these top guys that they're predicting in this draft has not started off very good in this year. They just haven't, and so maybe they were kind of over exaggerating what they thought he could be. They did return a lot of guys. That's why it made you think that he was going to. But they've just gotten off to so sorry. It's almost like they've been hit in the mouth early in every game, and they just like were stunned, and they just sit there just shocked, like they don't know what to do. And I don't know how to take it. I don't think you can fire Dabo. I mean, he's constantly winning 9 games. Here's the thing: he's in the ACC, and it's still Clemson. There's several NFL guys on that team. They may very well finish 9-3. They may not make the playoff, but like they could go on and win the rest of their games and finish 9-3, and that'd be one of their worst seasons still in the last 10. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I think there's a lot to be written. Right now, they look terrible. You think that they'd probably lose more than that, but it also wouldn't surprise me for them to randomly beat Miami or some of these other ACC schools. So,
Yeah.
we'll see. I just think but he's going to have to do something because if it stays on this, I think it's either he needs to make a change, like they need a new voice, and maybe he needs a new start, or something needs to happen.
It's a good point. You talk about all the time the SEC beating up on each other. And, in the ACC, you don't really see that as much. But shifting gears to the SEC beating up each other, I got big time game this weekend. One of the best rivalries. I mean, I don't know that necessarily a rivalry. It's just a game, though, that you got two of the best and, playing. And you got Georgia and Alabama. Georgia's 3-0, number 5 in the country. Alabama 2-1 at number 17. Georgia currently is favored by 3 points. However, Alabama has won 8 of the last 10 matchups, including last year's most recent game. I think Kellen DeBoer has a lot to prove going into this game. This is a statement game for him. If he can come out and win this, I think you start to shift the narrative of people who are still doubting Kellen DeBoer. However, if you can't, then it just keeps building to the resume. Colton, give me a short little brief. What are you looking forward to? Thoughts going into this game? Who do you like? Well, I don't know if that's going to be one of
Yeah.
our pick'ems. We might
Well,
need to wait.
yeah,
But,
I'll wait on who I like, but to me, look, I think Alabama's got to win this game because they play. I think 6 of their next 7 are against ranked teams. So they've got the 5th hardest schedule in the country. I mean, I could see them dropping. If you drop this game, I mean, you've got to play perfect the rest of the season to have a chance. And truthfully, who knows if they're going to do that? I do think that Simpson for Alabama has looked a lot better. I don't know that Georgia's offense is really that good. They did, Tennessee's defense never has really had that much of a defense. So, we'll see. Alabama, I think, can score. Like, I think they'll surprise. Like, I don't know who I'll announce my pick later, but yeah, I'm kind of leaning towards Bama, and just because I think that Simpson is going to play well, I really do. Like, I think I'm impressed with him the last couple games. So,
keep in mind, it is at Georgia, so that could play a factor. But Mason, thoughts?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing going in this game for me, just kind of looking at it, is Georgia's coming off a big win against Tennessee, and then they had a bye week. So let's see how they come back after that big win at Tennessee and then a bye week. Let's see if they can stay focused. Tough game. It is at home, but I've said it all season. Alabama's better than what they played against Florida State that first week. I
Uh-huh.
think that kind of gave everybody a little bit of a false narrative about what Alabama really is. I know they're not the same as what they were when Nick Saban was there, but they're good. And we've talked about Ty Simpson; he's good. I'll give my pick here in a minute, but I think the biggest thing is see how Georgia responds after this bye week, coming off that big win against Tennessee.
Okay, well, let's get into, I guess, the other big game of the week, Penn State versus Oregon. This is a rematch of the 2024 Big Ten Championship where Oregon did defeat Penn State in a crazy, remarkable game to clinch the conference title, and that score was 38-31. Going into this game, Penn State is 3-0 and Oregon is 4-0, so the unbeatables. Penn State's currently at rank number 3, Oregon number 6, and right now Penn State is favored by 3.5 points. Mason, is there any standouts to you in this game?
I,
What do you got?
I mean, I think the biggest thing to me is, and I know neither team has really played anybody yet. Oregon's had blowouts every game. Penn State kind of the same, but I think the biggest thing for me is it's at Penn State. You know that place. It's a night game. I don't know if it's a
Whiteout.
whiteout. Yeah,
It
but
is a
it's probably
whiteout.
okay. I was gonna say it's probably gonna be a whiteout. So I think it'll be a good test for both teams and just get a good idea of how both teams really stand up against better competition and give us a better idea, going into later in the season. Looking forward to the playoffs. Get my pick here in a minute, but I I think Penn State has the advantage just because they're at home. Nobody's really played anybody. It's going to be a tough game. Let's see how both teams come out and respond to better competition.
I do think
Yeah.
it's a bigger game for Penn State, though, for sure. Solely because that's something we've talked about here on is can Penn State win those big games? And
Yep.
in the middle of the season, sometimes they do. They do win those games, and then it's okay. Can they do it when it matters? And if Penn State cannot convert a win here, I think it affects them more than Oregon moving forward because I still think Oregon has proved that they can win big games. Colton, go ahead. I know you was about to say something.
Well, I was going to say pretty much what you did. What I'm looking for is just to see if Penn State can win a big game, right? I mean, here's the truth. I mean, their biggest games they've played over the last 5 or 6 years have been against Ohio State or in the Big Ten championship, and they haven't won, right? They just haven't won. They can't beat Ohio State. It seems like they can't do this thing. So I mean, only few chances you're getting those big games, they're just not able to win them. So I want to see that, and I want to see Drew Allard. I was really impressed with him last year. I thought he was going to be one of the top guys. I think he's kind of went under the radar with Sellers and some of these other guys, but he hasn't played anyone. He hasn't had to do a whole lot. So I want to go see Penn State win because of Allard, not in spite of because from other ways. I want to go see him be the reason that they win because I was impressed with him last year. I think he's got a good arm. I want to see if he's able to perform in this type of game. So
Yeah, so those are really the games that we are going to highlight for this set for this segment. And then we'll get our pick'ems later on with some more games. But we'll eventually get to the NFL. But let's talk a little bit of basketball. It might be a little early, but there was some very big news, especially that impacts Kentucky, being that they are in the SEC, and that is Mr. Bruce Pearl is retiring. On Monday, Bruce Pearl announced his retirement as the head coach of Auburn's men's basketball after 11 seasons. I can't believe it's been 11 seasons. He is going to transition into an ambassadorial role as the special assistant to the athletic director. And his son, Stephen Pearl, who has been an assistant for him for quite a while, is going to be the new head coach. Pearl is only 65. And during his tenure at Auburn, he's been the winningest men's basketball coach with a 246-125 record. Auburn, under his reign, has achieved 2 Final Four appearances and earned its first ever #1 overall seed in the NCAA tournament. Colton, for me, the biggest story is not Bruce Pearl retiring. For me, the biggest story is that his son, Steven, is given a 5-year contract with 0 head coaching experience. And this is also not to mention Pettiford, I don't even know his first name, who was their only 5-star recruit last year, is in the transfer portal now. I don't know if you all saw that, but Cole, do you agree with or disagree with me that Steven is, with him being 5 years? For me personally, I just think 5 years is a lot of years for no head coaching experience. That's a lot of trust. Do you think that this could be something, where I can't blame Bruce Pearl. I mean, the dad's going to do what a dad's going to do. Is that something in the working of because of the relationship? Did they actually give it any thought to go nationally and look for maybe the best coach? Is he the best available coach, or was it just convenient? Obviously, if you do your time, then your time will come and you'll be rewarded. But however, though, the 0 years of head coaching experience really throws me off. And as an Auburn fan, I'd be a little worried because I don't know how much impact Bruce Pearl is going to be. Now, he may be in those rooms or maybe in some practices, but you know, if I'm Steven, I want that full row. I don't want it to be my dad's program anymore. I want it to be my program. So what are your you'll go you Colton and then Mason. I want to hear y'all both agree or disagree with that.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think that's long, but look, if when something like this happens, it's obviously been in the works behind closed doors for a while, right?
True.
They didn't, and one, it was the first day of practice, so you're not going out and finding a Hall of Fame coach to take over your program all of a sudden with the first day of practice. My guess is that they didn't want any of these recruits to probably get up and leave, so they've probably let them develop the relationships, let the first day of practice come, and pretty much get the season start, and then make the announcement. So then you don't have to worry about maybe kids up and transferring all of a sudden right before practice or up and leaving the program. And then look, you don't know. Obviously not having the head coaching experience, that's a worry. But look, everyone's going younger, right? I mean, who knew? You look at Todd Golden. From obviously he had the head coaching experience out at was it San Francisco?
It was
Is that
somewhere.
where he came from? Something like that. But a lot of these guys are going younger now, and so maybe I don't know. He's been there, he's been around the program, so maybe he knows what it takes. Maybe he's got the good relationship with players, and maybe he's a good recruiter. I don't know a lot about him, so I I don't think he needed a 5 year contract. Now who knows? That may not be guaranteed though. Yeah, I don't know how much of that's guaranteed. The 5 year deal. A lot of coaches they're not going to do anything without a 5 year deal, right? They just don't want to know I'm going up and get fired and be gone next year. Uh, it'll be interesting. I do think they'll lose some spark though. They'll lose some toughness about them, and they could fall. I think the SEC as a whole was a little down this year, and so this may be it's going to help Kentucky. I think.
Well, hey, I mean, they did lose something already. They lost a 4-star or 5-star recruit in Pettiford.
Yeah.
Mason, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I feel like there's so many unknowns with what this situation and how it transpired. I obviously we don't know what happened, but maybe it's health issues, maybe it's something behind the scenes that nobody really knows yet. But like Colton said, I mean, I'm sure it's been in the works for a little bit, but at whatever point this came about, I'm sure it didn't happen in May or June or whenever it was, but I'm sure it was a little too late to go out and try to find, somebody else. He knows the program, he knows what needs to be done. I get, him taking over for now, maybe an interim, give him a little 1 year deal, see how he does, maybe a 2 year deal, give him a little bit of time, learn the ropes. But yeah, I agree. I mean, I think 5 years is a little much. What was the amount for? Do you know, Dylan?
I don't. I didn't write down an amount. I didn't even.
I was just
That
wondering,
didn't even pop up on me.
I'm sure there's some type of Auburn's not dumb, I mean, I'm sure there's some type of
Yeah.
stipulation in there, after a year or two if he
Yeah.
hasn't made the
I
NCAA
I doubt
tournament
much
or
of it's guaranteed. Like
right,
I'd say the
exactly.
5 year deal, but after one
Yeah,
year or 2 years, and like if they want
yeah,
rid of, him, there's no buyout or there's
yeah.
no like if I
I'd
had to
say
guess.
Yeah, I'd say there's more information that comes out, within the next few months, maybe, about kind of why this happened and why he made this move. Um, but yeah, I don't agree with the 5 year, but wish him the best of luck. I mean, he's obviously learned from a really good coach and grown up around that his whole life. So hopefully he does well. And I mean, it's good for the SEC whenever they're good. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah. And Bruce Pearl he has grown on me so much over the past 11 years. During his time at Tennessee, I wasn't really a Bruce Pearl fan, but during his entire reign at Auburn, you can see the raw emotion. The way he coaches is that like old school vibe, but he's also installed new school, I think, at the same time of being able to, um, I just think of like the picture or the video of him being in the stands at the football game with his football players and him taking his shirt off. Like that's the kind of like noose. Like I know that's silly, but like but then he will you can see him as red faced and you just getting in his players and just an overall great guy. I feel like he I mean, obviously, I don't want to get into political or politics, but I mean, he just seems like, for me, from a personal, this is my opinion. Some of the things he says that I strongly agree with, and just in general, being a good role model for those young guys is something that you love to see. But I think they are losing a great coach, but even a better person, in Bruce Pearl. Let's get into a little bit of NFL. Colton, talk to us.
Yeah, so I mean, crazy weekend in the NFL. If you hadn't watched, if you saw, I mean, blocked field goals was a story. Defensive touchdown, insane. I mean, I think
I
there were
counted.
what I said. There was four blocked field goals in the fourth quarter alone.
Yeah,
I was crazy. We had the NFL package, so like we flipped it over and watched the end of the Rams and Eagles game, and obviously the Eagles blocked the field goal with the Rams having a kick to win it. They run it back for a touchdown. You're like, oh man, that's crazy. Literally, I'm like, oh, let me flip it over to the Bucks and Jets game. That's getting kind of close. Turn around, the Jets block. I mean, like it wasn't a second later. Jets block it, run it back for a touchdown. I'm like, what's going on? I mean, this is insane. And you just watch, and then I mean, it happened again. I can't remember what game it was, but I mean, maybe the
Packers had
Dallas
one
game
blocked.
or I can't. Packers.
Packers had
Packers
one
had
blocked.
Packers had one blocked by the
Browns hit
Browns,
one
so
to
we
win
ended
it.
up upsetting.
Yeah,
Right? We had a matchup there where, like, going into that game, several people were listing the Packers as the number one team in the NFL and the Browns as the very worst team in the NFL. Browns pull off a win. All right, that's the crazy thing about the NFL. You never know when those things are going to happen. But that was the story of the weekend. Best
I
game
counted it
was,
up.
cheap.
There was only, I think in the early morning slate there was only 2 games that didn't have a defensive or special teams touchdown. And I
Yeah,
was like, what?
that's just so crazy. That's
Yeah.
so unheard of. I mean, you never know when it's going to happen. But you know what I wanted to think about? Like I sat there and thought to myself, in that Eagles game, they put Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter right next to each other. Two of the best interior defensive linemen in the game. And they're right next to each other and they just bulldoze. And I'm like, man, our teams. And then I saw the Jets game, the guy ran and jumped over the center. And I was like, man, our team's just actually kind of adapting now. You know how like field goal kickers now are making 55-yarders like it's nothing,
Yeah.
right? That
Yeah.
used to be like, oh man, this is a long kick. Now
Yeah.
it's nothing. Like you see it, they can make it from 70. But
Yeah.
I wonder if these guys are adapting. Like they're figuring out these ways to possibly block these kicks. I mean, as the game is changing, and so it's interesting to see because you're seeing a lot more stuff like that. But overall, it was an awesome weekend. Lions got a big win at the Ravens. That was the primetime game on Monday night.
Yeah.
The Lions offense, we questioned it after week one at the Packers. Did they miss Ben Johnson? The last 2 weeks, they've not missed Ben Johnson at all. They look like the Lions of the last couple of years. I think they're going to be fine. They actually look more well balanced. Their defense was very tough the other night, getting to Lamar. And then I mean those are big things for the weekend. I will say the Ravens and Chiefs play this weekend. Both teams are 1-2, so one team is going to go to 1-3, and you never really saw a world where the Chiefs or the Ravens were 1-3. And
Yeah.
it's going to happen to one of them. So
For me, I guess the biggest. So when I was watching the Eagles and Rams game, in my head, there was at no point that I did not think that the Eagles were not going to come back and win. I don't know how you all felt. That's how I felt. And I got to thinking, I'm like, it's wild that in the NFL for the past, I think of not 3 decades, but like for the past couple of years, there's always that team that when you're watching them, you're just like, well, they're not out of it. Just wait. And, like, I think now that's the Eagles. Before the Eagles, it was about 3 or 4 years of the Chiefs. Before it was the Chiefs, it was the Patriots. Before it was the Patriots, it was the Patriots again. But my point is, it's just that you can really see the winning organization. Like there's just the way that they handle it. I look at Jalen Hurts, and I think that although I don't think he's an amazing quarterback, I think he's a really good quarterback. I don't think, but what he is amazing at is I think he is a fantastic leader. Uh,
He's
the
perfect for
way
the
that he
Eagles, is
handles
what he
him,
is.
yes, the way he handles himself and carries himself, he shows no emotion. Business is business on the football field, and his expectations are the expectation of Eagles football. Um, but that was one of the things that I was just immediately thinking about back and forth. And then I guess the only other headliner for me that I think the Lions looked really good. Watched most of that game for the most part, I think the Ravens did. However, Derrick Henry is the only running back in the league who's had 3 consecutive games with 3 fumbles. That's a worrisome there. I mean, you think of such an elite running back, but you got to be able to hang on to the football. And the way that they teach these defensive guys now to
To just punch the
to
ball.
just punch it out. I mean, I don't care what anybody says. That is a skill. That is a absolute skill to know how to do it and where to do it when a running back is running full throttle right down at you. It's amazing. I mean, it's an art to be able to do that. But those are my thoughts.
I mean, obviously, my biggest thought is the Packers. I don't know if y'all watched that game. We got a lot of injuries on the offensive line right now, and that hurt us. We had 2
Oh,
offensive
we got a
linemen
lot
out.
of injuries. We lost
We,
because we have
we do.
injuries. Blah blah
No,
blah.
no,
You just can't.
we
You just
didn't lose.
can't win on the road to the
Oh, don't give me
Browns
that.
on the road.
Don't.
Come on,
Hey,
Mason.
did you watch the game? Did you watch the game? Because there was 3 straight possessions in the fourth quarter where they were driving, and it was third down and something, and every single time a flag comes out. And you see how much money was on the game on the Packers? 1.1 billion. Oh, not saying it's rigged, but I'm just saying there was a couple of those calls that weren't
Oh my
questionable.
goodness.
And
I will
no,
say my
Oh,
questions come from Jordan Love. That that interception that he had like literally they had the game. If he just
oh yeah,
deals, they win that
yeah,
game. But
yeah.
like that type of stuff is what worries me still about Jordan Love. I think he's very talented, but I don't think he's got to that threshold yet of being able to like lead the team to like pass to like a major game. Because
I
like
agree.
he's very talented when all things clicking, but when
Well,
they're not clicking,
here's my thing that separates him from like the Josh Allens, the Lamars, the Joe Burrows. He's he kind of reminds me of. He doesn't run as much as Jalen Hurts, but he kind of reminds me of Jalen Hurts. Like he's not great at anything really. He's pretty good, but it's not like he really excels at sitting in the pocket and being able to put it on the money every single time. And I think we've surrounded him with guys who have kind of helped out with that. But he still has, when it comes down to the end of the game and he has to make those drives and make those throws, he's still not there yet. But I do think he can continue to develop and he can get better. But yeah, I mean the biggest thing was just our offense that whole game. We couldn't get anything going. And I mean, it was a low scoring game, and then the Browns block a field goal, and as soon as they blocked it, I was like, oh yeah, they won that game. It's over now, and they
you
came
just
down and
know you never
hit a
know
field
with the
goal.
NFL. I mean,
Yeah,
the Browns defense, all right, that's always
well,
no,
there
something
is
that's
one
like
The
thing,
that.
Bears, the Bears
the
look
Titans
good.
are going to lose. We
The
do know that.
Titans are losing. Give us the number 1 pick again.
That's right, back to back, baby. Tighten up. We would beat the Browns though.
No,
We'll
Oh
prove
yeah,
we'll prove that later
sure,
on this season.
we're not
sure,
We
beating
play
anyone
them.
right now. It's embarrassing.
sure.
Callahan's gone halfway through the year, guaranteed. Like
Yeah,
something. I mean, it's offensive. Did you see where he turned the
I
offensive
did.
duties over?
Yep.
Maybe I don't know if he's doing that to try and save his own butt. Like because right now they're relying on him. He's not doing good at offense or head coach. So I mean, maybe he done that to try and save him a little bit, give it to someone else, let him take the blame for the offense.
On a
I mean, you
side
can't
note
be
of the
you're an
Titans,
offensive mind and they've scored like 2 touchdowns the whole year
on a,
so far.
yeah,
I mean,
on a
their
side note of the
kicker's elite
Titans,
though.
have y'all seen their new stadium? Have y'all been to Nashville lately? Have y'all
Oh,
seen
it's
their new
gonna be
stadium being built?
sweet.
Oh my
Wow.
goodness, it is massive. I drove by it like
Yeah.
last week
Yeah.
or a week and a half ago, and I was like,
Someone
"There's
said
going to
that
be a
someone
Super
said they're
Bowl
supposed
in
to have like a
Nashville.
golf simulator in it.
There will be a Super Bowl in
Like
Nashville
almost
within the next
like a
8
Top
years,
Golf.
10
Which
years. I
Top
don't know
Golf's
how
right
long
next to the
it is right next to it, but there's going to be a Super Bowl there here
Yeah.
soon, which is kind of exciting.
It
Oh
opens
yeah.
in 2027. I don't plan on going back down to a game until 2027.
1
So
minute.
2027. He said 1 minute.
Yeah.
I'm good.
Yep.
I'm
I
good.
mean,
Let's go.
All right. So for the people
Wait.
out there, I said 1 minute because we are setting aside the last 30 minutes of this episode of Bluegrass State of Mind to talk about the one, the only Ryder Cup. If you are not a golf fan, I would love for you to stay on and stay tuned to learn about this because this means more than golf. So, just to lay down the foundation, and then we'll get into some things. What is the Ryder Cup? Well, the Ryder Cup is the match that is played against the Americans and the Europeans. It is a 3-day event. It is not like a normal golf tournament. Day one is on Friday. You have 2 sessions, a morning and afternoon session, both Friday and Saturday. The morning sessions, there will be 4 foursomes that go out, and foursomes is pretty much, it's just alternate shot. If me and Colton were on the same team, he would hit the first shot, then I would hit the next shot and just go back and forth. Session 2 for Friday and Saturday in the afternoon wave will be 4 ball matches, which means if me and Mason were on a team, we would play against 2 other guys and we would just take the lowest score amongst playing our own ball of the 2. And then on Sunday, all 12 players from each side will play a singles match and go head to head. There are 12 players. There is 28 points available. The first team to reach 14.5 points will win the Ryder Cup. In 2021 or 2023, the Ryder Cup was held in Europe, and Europe won a 16.5 to 11.5 victory. A pretty dominating outing by the Europeans.
Yeah.
But what I feel
it
like a
wasn't
lot
that
of people,
close.
yeah,
No.
but a lot of people, what a lot of people are forgetting is in 2021, the Ryder Cup before that, the USA had an even more dominating appearance in a 19-9 victory. The last time an away team won a Ryder Cup was in 2012 when Europe staged the miracle at Medina, and that was a comeback to defeat the United States in a 14.5 to 13.5. A lot to get into. Before we get into picking, some possible matchups together, I've done a lot of talking there about introducing it. I would love to talk about what the Ryder Cup means to me, but I'm gonna hand it over to Mason first. Mason, just give me a little 30-second, 1 minute. What does the Ryder Cup for you personally mean? Why is this something we're all just pumped and jacked up about?
I mean, obviously, it comes down to USA, right? And I think one of the biggest things, and it kind of just hit me earlier when they were introducing teams, they're going through and they're introducing Team Europe, and it's all these different countries. We have one country, everybody from one country, and we're going up against all these guys from, what did they say it was? 10 different countries, I think, on their team or something. And
9 different
it's,
nations.
it's America, right? We're better than everybody. And anything we do, we always think that. And it's America against anybody. And we always just want to come out and dominate. So that's what it is. America versus everybody. We're the greatest nation in the countries, or greatest nation in the world.
Colton.
We are the greatest country of this country.
Colton,
No,
you got
man.
your
I
American
mean,
flag,
look,
man. Let me know.
listen.
Come
All I
on, bring
know
it to
is
me.
that
Bring it to me, brother.
the game of golf began in Europe, and this match represents, the Europeans still continuing to think that they are the prime of golf. That's where it was invented. It's their sport. No more.
Blah, blah, blah,
The
blah,
No
blah.
more.
The Americans have taken over. The Americans are the best players in the world now. America has become has developed the best golfers in the world now. And it's just growing, and it's going to continue that. And look, it's the pride of this event. Obviously we love golf. That's what also, helps us get so excited about this event. But it's just it's awesome because like I said, the team aspect doesn't come around till this time of year for golf. We love seeing that, but it just builds up, right? It's every other year, so it's not something you're just constantly seeing every year. So it adds even more build up to it because like you're not going to get a chance at revenge. We had a sour taste in our mouth since the blowout I was at Rome. I think the last
Rome.
one, 2023. Yeah. So I mean, we had a blowout, so you just had a sour taste in your mouth. The team that wasn't structured that well. No one, some people didn't show up, and it was kind of embarrassing, really. I mean, it was a bad performance. I think we got swept in the morning session.
Yeah.
So now you're back home. You're defending your nation, and especially in one of the most prideful, like American, well-known city, New York City. Right? You're in September when 9/11's happened. They had the firefighter give the speech. I mean, it's everything, right? You're not. And he says play with the country like the country's on your back, or like you got the country on your back because you do. Like you do. You have the country on your back. And man, I mean, just fire me up. I'm all in. I
Yeah.
mean,
I mean, that's exactly how I feel. I'm not going to say anymore just because that's everything. It's all about, we're all one. Obviously, I really enjoy watching some of the Europe guys, but on these 3 days, I hate their guts. I cannot stand them. They
That's right.
can. I don't want them to get a single point. I want them to cry to their mommies and daddies. Like I don't like them. But let's get into some possible matchups, and then we'll get into some storylines. So. We've talked about some foursomes. That's gonna head out. That will be the opening tee and the morning wave Friday morning. Um, I mean, let's just go ahead and throw some out there. I'm just going to tell you my first one I would like to see. You all can totally disagree with it. That's okay. I don't think we need to spend too much time on like a do we agree, disagree. You can talk about if you like it or if you want to. But listen, I think for me personally, that first group that goes out there, I want the tone. I want everything. I want the people. I want the playing. And there's only one person on our team that can pump up the crowd that in a way that others can, and that is my boy Bryson DeChambeau. Put him out first. And you know who I'm gonna put him with? I'm gonna put him with the best player on the planet, like he did at Whistling Straits and Scotty Scheffler. We're gonna set the tone and we're gonna start it right. I like them two as a matchup. I also like sending out Sam Burns in a Russell Henley matchup. Two elite putters, but also you got Sam Burns, who's not like crazy long, but they can gel good together. I also want to see JT and Ben Griffin out there. I think Ben Griffin is playing really good golf right now. JT, you got to have him out there in your first wave. And then the last two, I'm gonna send it home with the. I know they didn't shine like they should have in Rome, but the band's back together. Patrick Cantley and Xander, they got something to prove. But with that said, I'm sitting out Cam Young, Colin Morikawa, and Harris English in that first foursome match. Share me your thoughts. You don't have to talk about mine, but Colton, who do you like? Who are some matchups that you could possibly see? Go ahead.
yeah, I still think you got to go with the Scotty Henley until it's
Damn.
proven otherwise, and that's just because, especially for foursomes, they're so consistent, right? Like I mean, they just don't mess up. And where Scotty might lack a little bit in putting, Henley can make up for it. But man, you talk about, you're always looking for angles and things where you maybe can attack, and they just don't give you room, right? Those two just do not give you room to really do anything with. And so, like, I think you got to send them. I do like Bryson going out. I like him with Ben Griffin. I think, personally, I think Ben Griffin's putter, and you give him a little bit of the fire. Like he needs someone to help pack him a little bit, right? He's gonna have nerves. So why not throw him with the guy who's gonna be the most excited, the most
Well, that's why I
like
put him
take
with
on the
JT too. That's what I
well
think
living on the
because
moment, right?
just with a
Yeah,
different guy.
right. Yeah. So I'm with him with Bryson. I personally like I would probably go with like a Colin Morikawa in and I would probably pair him with maybe like a Sam Burns. And the reason I do that is because Burns putter, but Morikawa's irons are still elite, like he just is. They're both pretty decent drivers of the golf ball, but I think where Morikawa falls short is he just don't make enough putts. But I mean, he's still one of the top. He's a top 5 iron player in the entire game, and your irons need to be elite in foursomes. So I think those two, and I'm like you. I like the Cantley Shoffley. I think you send them out early, and then that's where I like a foursome. So that's my matches.
I had a lot of the same.
Mason.
I like Scotty and Henley. I mean, they went 2-1 together at the President's Cup. I think we probably see this pairing, a couple times, maybe even
Mhm.
more. I think that's going to be a popular pairing. I do like the Cantlay
Yeah.
and Schauffele. They're a common pairing, obviously. They have a 7-6 record between Ryder Cups and President's Cups. They practice together every week on tour. They have that chemistry. I think sending them out there together, you know, I'll say Cantlay started playing better towards the end of the year. Schauffele kind of had a little bit of a down year on tour compared to what he's had, the last year or two. But I think getting them out there together, they'll be comfortable together, get them rolling. Um, I had Griffin and Thomas as well. I think JT gets matched up with some of these rookies quite a bit just because, he's kind of the veteran on the team. He's a leader. He has a 7-4-2 record in the Ryder Cup. He's been here. He understands, get them in the right headspace. And then I think you do have to
Yeah.
have Bryson out there as well, going out in that early group. I think I would like to see Bryson and JT at some point. I know that's a little bit of like, but could you imagine, Bryson hitting his drive and then JT, he's so good, with his irons and wedges, around the green.
Yeah.
I know they kind of have a little bit of different games, but I think that they would complement each other well. I think it'd be an interesting, kind of pairing to see there. But I think you got to throw Bryson out. I don't really
Yeah.
know who you throwing him out. I think you're throwing him out with anybody because, like you said, Dylan, he brings the energy.
Well, that's the morning waves for Friday and Saturday. But going into four ball matches, so for me, the four ball matches, I did have Scotty and Russell Henley paired together. I love those. I just wanted to throw in Bryson just because I want him off the first tee. I want to see him try to drive there. Like I want him to make a statement, and we'll get into that in a little bit because I got a lot to say about that as far as Brandel Chambly goes. But then also I threw out Cam Young and Colin Morikawa and for the four ball matches. Then I have JT and Harris English, and then the last one I have Ben Griffin, and I don't know who the other one. I cannot. The name that I've not said is JJ Spawn. JJ Spawn is the guy for me that he played well. I just that I don't know. Like that's the question mark for me as far as like how much can I play or want to play him. And then as far as veteran goes, the one that I really just I'm hesitant with is Colin Morikawa. I know his irons are elite. I just hope that you know he has not had the year that he expected to have, as well as everyone else. And I hope that that doesn't have any carryover to this week because it's not about you this week. It's about the team. And you got to bring your stuff. I mean, you're either on it or you're off of it. But Mason, what are some of your four ball matches that, you've wrote down or had in thought?
Yep. So one of them I like Burns and Cantlay. They're coming off the President's Cup. They went 2-0 together at the President's Cup when they played together. So I like them two as a matchup. I think at some point I would like to see Cam Young and Bryson together. Both bombers, hit it a long way. They can both go. They can both go really low if they get hot. I think that would just kind of be electric watching them. Both stand up there and smash balls, and I think they'd give us a good chance on every hole. With them being able to have the ability to go low. Dylan, I agree. I don't know how I feel about Morikawa right now. I hope he comes out, balls out. But I just I really don't know with the way he's kind of played this season, and he's been so iffy. I hope he shows up, but I just really I really don't know who to pair him with right now. I,
Yeah.
I don't know. He's kind of got me stumped. I haven't mentioned JJ Spawn either. I think he's just kind of a steady guy. I think you can kind of throw him out there with a mix of people. But I think one we might see,
Yeah.
and this is probably going to be unpopular a little bit, but Harris English and Russell Henley, they have a pretty good connection. I know they're not two of our stronger guys, but they're both from Georgia. They have pretty good connection, pretty good friends. So I think we could see that at some point as well.
Yeah. Quickly, Colton, who you got? Just throw out some of the people you have for the four ball matches.
Yeah, I'm going to assume that Scotty and Henley continue winning, so I'm going to go ahead and throw them out there. I think you got to keep playing them as long as they're winning. Something happens in foursomes, they get blown out or something, maybe you switch it up. But we're going to assume they win in foursomes. We're going to throw them back out there at four ball. Then I'm going to go with Bryson and JJ Spawn. I think that's another one. Like I said, Bryson takes on the vibe, and you got another rookie in JJ Spawn who can make a lot of birdies. I like
Take the pressure
JT.
off of him.
Yep. I like JT and Ben Griffin.
Yeah.
For another one, I just do. I think that you have another rookie with a veteran in that one. And then I'm probably going with like Harris English and like a Xander Schauffele or a Cantley, something like that is who I would probably look at for birdies. Yeah, this or a Cam Young, I meant Cam Young. Cam Young
Yeah.
with Harris English, I think is who you go for because you have a steady one in English, a guy that's pretty consistent, a veteran, he's been here before, he's played it before, and you have another rookie who can get really hot. And but I'm like y'all, I can't really see. Cam Young, it's his home course. That's something we didn't talk about. They might want to throw him out there in that first session to kind of get the crowd going, but he
Yeah.
also could have some nerves. So maybe they let him play in the afternoon, bring him in for some fire. But I like those guys because those are birdie guys. It's just two different formats. You want to have the guys that are the very consistent guys and different strengths and foursomes, and then you want to have guys that can make a lot of birdies in the four ball.
Yeah. I think all of us have a lot of faith in Ben Griffin. I hope he lives up to the moment. I think where he's going to be thrown out there a lot more than maybe what he expected himself to early in the, whenever he's like, okay, I can make this Ryder Cup. But now, he's not a veteran, but he's going to be out there a lot. I truly believe that the way that he's performed, the way he constantly shows up, and his play speaks for itself. Here is my message. If I'm Keegan Bradley, and I want your all's thoughts on this. Why does the world believe we are the underdog? It does not make sense to me. When you look at the head-to-heads, we have Scotty Scheffler, 1 in the world, Russell Henley, 3, Xander Schauffele, 4, Justin Thomas, 5, J.J. Spawn, 6, Colin Morikawa, 8, Harris English, 10, Ben Griffin, 11, Cam Young, 20, Bryson DeChambeau, 21, Patrick Cantley, 22, and Sam Burns, 23. Europe, Rory McIlroy, 2, Tommy Fleetwood, 7, Robert McIntyre, 9, Victor Hovland, 12, Justin Rose, 14, Sepp Straka, 15, Ludwig Adbert, 16, Shane Lowry, 24, Terrell Hatton, 25, Mats Fitzpatrick, 29, Rasmus Hogard, 58, John Rahm, 73. Now, I know John Rahm's not technically, he's not the 73 rank,
Yeah.
but
And
my
Bryson would
message
probably be
is,
top
though,
5.
yeah, exactly. Why are we acting like we are the underdogs? We're not the underdogs. Yes, we had a little spell in Rome, but like that's something I can't get over right now. I feel like every time I'm watching the Golf Channel or I'm seeing anything out there, it's like USA better be coming ready prepared. Like what am I missing here, Colton? What is it? I mean, yeah, we got beat, but I mean that was just one little battle. It wasn't the war, Like that's my message to my guys. Like we're the better team. If you look at it from top to finish.
Oh yeah. I mean, the majority of if you actually look at like the categories statistically that matter, like all like 10 or 11 of the USA players, there's only like 2 of the European players that are anywhere like above like 10 of the USA guys and like the most important statistical category over the last like 6 months. Right? I think there's just a lot more question marks around this USA team, right? And I think because of you're essentially taking the same team that looked so dominant in Rome for the European team, you literally just replaced, Nikolai Horgard with his twin brother Rasmus, and it's the exact same team, right? Same captain, everything. I mean, they even they went to it's the same captain again. So I mean, there's just a lot of unity there, and so I think there's just a lot more questions. People just seeing that they're just questioning. They're like, oh well, we've got so many rookies. Because that is my biggest question. I'll just say that is the guys that like I feel like we really need to lean on are also some of the rookies, right? Like I really think we need to lean on Ben Griffin and Cam Young,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because of
Yep.
the way Morikawa has played and some of these guys, like I think we need them, but they're question marks, right? You never know how people are going to, react to some of this stuff. Maybe ideally you hope that they live up to the moment. You hope that they embrace it, that this is a Star is Born, and that the pride takes over, they just become elite. But it's question mark, right? We've seen the European team do it. We've seen every one of those guys besides Horgard play in this format, and we saw them excel like they've played. And so now you got a question mark. But yeah, I agree. Look, head to toe, we've got the better golfers. We just do. Statistically, they're there. Like they've proven that they are but they've got to go out and it is a different way. It's a different format. It's a different, everything. It's not
Yeah.
And they were talking about like Shane Lowry and Rory probably won't be a pairing, even though they do that. They play so good in the Zurich together because they were like talking about how like this is nothing like the Zurich Classic, even though it's like literally the same format. But they were like, this is nothing. You cannot go off of it because this is completely on its own thing. So we'll see. I
Yeah.
think that's probably where the underdog's coming
Well,
from, though, just the uncertainty.
one of those
I
questions,
think
Mason, I want to get to you. One of those questions is probably Brandel Chamblee, and his comments that he made over the week, who is on the Golf Channel. And to me, I'm like, dude, who are you? Are you a European or are you American? Because if all you're going to do is tear the Americans down, then you don't need to talk at all. But Mason, Coleman was sitting there talking about questions. Well, Brandel Chamblee goes on to there's been some interaction between Bryson DeChambeau and Rory, and obviously we know what happened at the U.S. Open 2 years ago where Rory choked a putt, missed it, and then this past year at the Masters, Bryson made comments that Rory didn't say anything, and Rory had just said he was a golf and he was in his own lane, so he said that he was going to chirp him a little bit, and then Rory responded, and then Bryson DeChambeau had responded about being a good influence on the kids for his YouTube channel and whatnot, and Brandel Chamblee had some comments, but he said, I quote, he goes into saying, Bryson DeChambeau is a captain's nightmare. So he basically suggesting, that he's more of a self-promotional person. He likes for his YouTube presence. He could disrupt, the team dynamics. Didn't talk anything about the team, whatnot. But shortly after that, the next morning, his teammates, and I wouldn't just say teammates, I would say very important teammates, speak up for him. Scotty Scheffler goes on to say, praising how he's a great person to be on the team with, his enthusiasm, he has great leadership skills. He's a tremendous competitor, he said. And then Xander Schauffele even went on and said in his press conference, he told Keegan, he's like, hey, I think Bryson DeChambeau could be the difference for us this week. The way that he's able to bring a different dynamic to this team. Mason, what are your thoughts on that? What is the golf world what should those thoughts be? I mean, we're talking about a fellow American who has went and taken time off to be at these events when he's not on the PGA Tour and couldn't play in some of these events. So what are we
I
doing?
mean that's what I was going to say. I mean, I disagree with his statements completely. I mean, all went and played. Bryson was there hanging out with the team. I think he brings the most energy out of anybody on the team. Obviously, he's one of the most competitive people
Absolutely.
in golf right now. I mean, the amount of time and work that he puts in and dedicates to his game. Um, I I just agree with those statements completely. I think, like Xander said, I think he could be the X factor for us this week, and I think he probably is one of the most important pieces. If he does end up sending him out first, can you imagine Bryson just comes out and he can set that whole golf course on fire with his emotion and his fire and the way he plays the game and how exciting he is. I
Well,
disagree
baby, I'm
completely
getting
with
pumped up right
every.
now. Let's go.
Trying to
I
drive
disagree.
number one's green right
Yeah.
off the bat.
Oh, he's going to. You know he is.
I mean,
You know it. He's going to step up there, hit a
So,
bomb.
yeah.
I hope he drives it, and that place is going to go nuts. And he's going to go nuts, and it's just going to be the Tom setter. If he comes out and drives green on the first hole, and he's the first person off, game over. We win. We sweep them first session. We come out and we dominate.
yeah. Yeah. And I like that for the segue into the question that Colton sent us, like firing the crowd up. Does the Ryder Cup actually mean more to Team Europe? And that's been a question that, people talk about on the Golf Channel, and they talk about it in every time the Ryder Cup comes up. And I think it's complete bogus. I do. I totally, totally disagree with that statement. And I mean that from the fullest, because you cannot convince me that this doesn't mean as much to the Americans as it does the Europeans. And the reason why I think the Europeans say that is the only reason why is because of what Colton said at the beginning of this segment is that golf originated from Europe. Blah, 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 blah. Who cares? That has nothing to do with how passionate you are about this event. when Bryson DeChambeau steps up on there, you cannot tell me that he's not going to be doing his fist and going crazy. And Americans and sports fans from America, not Europe, America, are going to be heckling and going crazy. Are our cheers bad? Yeah, I think the only cheer we got is USA, USA. But I don't care. You
That
say it over and over, USA. I
that's what
think
I
it's
was
a
gonna
bogus
say. Like,
statement. I completely disagree.
yeah, I agree. And I think all of it comes down to like people say it needs more for Europe, whatever. I think people just say that because they do have all these chants and all that originates from soccer over there. Like you see all these teams, soccer's so big over there and all these stadiums, they have all these chants and they're used to doing all that in stadiums and at sporting events. We don't really have that over here, but that doesn't necessarily just mean that it means more to Team Europe. Maybe, yeah, they have some better chants and it sounds louder or whatever, but no, I disagree. I agree with you, Dylan, but I don't think it's more important means more to Team Europe than it does here.
I'm already getting riled up. Colton, be honest, do you think that it means more? I mean, like, not to the fans. I mean, it may to fans maybe some, but I'm talking about the players. Does it mean more for the European team to win than it does America team? I mean, I just can't see that. You cannot convince me in a world that Keegan Bradley does not want this in every bone of his. I just don't make
Yeah,
sense to
no,
me.
I don't think I don't think there's any way you could sit there and say that the Europeans want it more than the Americans. Like that's just no way of being able to say that. Like, because I mean, there's just too much passion there for the country. Like I said earlier, I think it just stems from. I think that they just look at it differently than maybe America did for a while. Like, I just think that they kind of looked at it as a like I think you want like obviously the USA always wants to win, but I think like the Europeans like I think a lot of the American guys I will say at one point I think there was you probably had some Americans on the team that if you was to ask them if they would rather win the Masters or win the Ryder Cup this upcoming year, a lot of them probably would have said I'd rather win the Masters. Where I don't know that you would have got that statement out of very many of the Europeans, like maybe Rory. I mean, since he was chasing the Masters at the time, but like still, like the majority of them, like that's all they live for. It's a Ryder Cup for 2 years from that. That's like that's their life. But I think as this grows, I think you're seeing more of a pride in the Ryder Cup from the American side, and so like there's no way to sit there and say that they want it more. Because I think
Yeah.
after Bryson DeChambeau bombs it, yells at the playing competitor, and fast walks down the fairway to his ball to get up there and mark it on the green before he drains an eagle putt. Yeah, I mean there ain't no way around it.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think
No,
part
I
of it
mean,
stems
there's
too
not.
to. I was just gonna say, I think part of it
I think it's
stems too
jealousy.
to,
I think it's jealousy from the
yeah, I was
Europeans.
gonna say we lead the overall, we're up 27-15 all time. I think part of it stems to that too. Like they're just trying to crawl their way back and get back to where they can make it respectable, so maybe they have a little bit more to play for, I guess you could say, trying to come from behind and get back to make it respectable. But no, I agree. I don't think it means more
Well, it's
for the
also
players than it
more than
does.
that too, though. I think it's what Colton said. I think it's what Colton said earlier. Like the best players in in the world are Americans. It's no
Yep.
longer just because the golf originated. Like Europe doesn't run the show. They are our little brother, just like Louisville is Kentucky's little brother. They're not the big brother. We are the big brother. We are the standard. We are what they want to be. And yeah, they have to go into it and think of something. How can I've got to prove something. And that's the way they have it. I was watching something and it just drove me crazy. It just got me even more pumped and juiced. Is Terrell
USA.
Hatton and Justin Justin Rose were saying, they were sitting at this table and it asked, no, I'm sorry, it was Ian Poulter and Terrell
Ian
Hatton.
Poulter and
Uh,
Tara Hatton,
Eh,
yeah.
yes, and it was
What's
like,
the difference
"Are
in the
American
fans?
fans." Yeah, and they was like, "Totally disagree," and I'm just like, "Man, if that's the way y'all feel, go back to Europe. Don't be playing in America on the PGA tournament." Like,
Yeah,
oh, it just gets me juiced.
yeah.
I'm like, "What are you doing here then?" Like, you wouldn't say that if you like. Oh, go ahead, Cody. I have to control myself. Control
Yeah, no,
myself. Go ahead.
I'm the same way. I'm the same way. That whole interview, he was like pretty much just how like they can be disrespectful, or he was talking about how stupid American fans were. Oh, like forget listen, we won the world wars. We're going to win this one. Like, come at us. Like, I'm
Yeah.
here for it. Like, I mean,
We are
you want to talk about
undefeated.
all things in life? Like, I'm here.
We will always
Like, yeah,
rise.
we're just I mean, listen, undefeated since 1776, baby. Like, we're here. Like, you can say what you
That's
want,
right.
but
Yeah.
we're here. So I don't care. You want to talk about stupidity? Stupidity. We
Oh, yeah. And they was like,
will absolutely destroy you and whatever you
well,
want.
if they want to talk that way, then they better be ready for some stupidity from the New York that they're about to get, because it I hope
Oh
it's
yeah,
everything
perfect place.
that everybody is building it up
Absolutely.
to be. What I am going to be a little disappointed is, and also I have seen some worrisome on this. I don't know if y'all seen this on X, but they've said, looking at uh the golf course format itself, they said they're a little worried on like how people are going to be able to stand uh the way that it's shaped, because there's hole and holes like meeting up with each other. Like, where are they going to be able to stand and be able to be in the presence of those players and heckle back and forth? Because that's all I think about last year, or not last year, 2 years ago, was waking up and then I'm looking and like, man, they are surrounding these Americans doing their little hat thing to Patrick Cantley. Like, the fans is a big part of this Ryder Cup. Let's speak a little bit about that and then we can close out. The fans, what does this mean for the Ryder Cup itself when you talk about these fans, Colton?
Yeah, I mean, it gives us a sense of pride, right? Like, we're not only do we love the game of golf, but it's a chance for us to. It's the same way when the Olympics comes around every 4 years, right? I mean, it don't matter. Like, when else do you watch swimming? Not a fan, but
Never.
like, I
But you're
will watch
sitting
it
there
during the
cheering at the
Olympics,
TV.
right?
Right? Like,
Or the World
yes.
Cups, right? I mean, you're just yelling because it's America, and like everyone can get it. Like you entered before when you started this conversation about not knowing even if you're not a golfer, right? It don't matter, right? At this point, you're not. It don't matter if you're rooting for the golf part or not. You're rooting for America, right? And that's what we're here for. At the end of the day, America,
Absolutely.
and we're
That's
here to
right.
win, and that's what we're going to do.
That's right.
Absolutely. That's a great
Mason,
point, Coach. You
final
think about
thoughts
like,
on the
you
fans
think about
being in there.
Olympics. Yeah. You think about Olympics,
Yeah,
World Cup, all those things. Like, I, Olympics, I don't watch gymnastics, but every single day I'm looking at the overall medal total just to make sure that we're still winning, so we can be number one and we can be the best. But I agree. I don't know that it could be in a better spot this year, with kind of all the hype and everything around this after coming off a big loss. New York, you know how New Yorkers are. And I thought it was so funny when Keegan, he was giving his speech and he was like, and respectable. And I just kind of laughed. I was like, yeah, right. These New Yorkers, they don't care anything about that. They're going to let them have it. And I hope they do. I hope they heckle Rory to death too. I hope they give him all kinds of stuff. Oh, you
Oh,
get
I
different
know. I
force and get
hope he's
whatever it may
so
be. I hope they
mad.
give him all of it. I hope they give him all of it. All of it.
Yeah,
There are
I am
no
too.
boundaries.
That's right. I agree 100%. I am America all the way. Turn me up, fire me up. I'm ready. If you see my American flag, I'm pumped. I'm ready. Let's get it. My goodness. Come on, USA. We are
Dylan, we're
pumped.
going to be
We're
going
ready.
crazy on the golf course
Uh,
this weekend.
I know. I know. And Colton couldn't be with us. That's unfortunate. However, though,
I can't believe y'all are
we
going to
do.
be playing during it.
Oh, we'll be
What?
watching it for sure.
Oh,
I mean, I may be
absolutely.
sitting about this far from the TV, just
I know.
eyes
What?
locked.
Well, the pairings come out at 4 tomorrow. Is that right? Is that what they said? 4 o'clock?
Yeah.
4 o'clock tomorrow, and I think it starts at. I think
I was going to
Friday
say,
is
what
the
time does it
first thing.
start
I
Friday?
think it said 7:10, but I think that might be Eastern, so 6:10 maybe is when the first tee shot
Oh, I'll be up at
their
4:30.
time, or we're on it central where we're at. So yeah,
All right,
ooh.
guys. Well, we appreciate you all listening. We are passionate because we all are Americans. We're in this together. As always, go Cats.
Go
Go
Cats.
Cats.
That's a wrap for this episode of Bluegrass State of Mind. If you enjoyed the show, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe so you never miss an episode. Also, be on the lookout for our social media pages and be sure to follow them. We've got plenty more stories, insights, and conversations coming your way. And if you really loved it, make sure to share it with a friend. From the hills to the hollers, thanks for tuning in. Until next time, keep that Kentucky spirit strong.